Hey guys, what's going on? This video I'm looking at the Moza Mini Mx Smartphone gimbal that's substantially cheaper than the DJI OM4 or the Osmo Mobile 4. Now, cheaper generally means not as many features, and generally for a lot of people cheaper can mean just, yeah, not as good. Let's find out. My name is Vic Barry, and for thoughts, techniques and tips on all things video and filmmaking, please consider hitting subscribe, especially if you find this video useful. Once you get the plastic off, which was pretty tightly wrapped, we're presented with a nice box, and once you open that, we've got manuals, stuff that you shouldn't eat, another manual that I'm not going to read, a USB-C cable and a wrist strap. And before we get to the gimbal, there's an accessory box which holds a Moza bag and some tripod legs, which feels pretty solid with a rough edge which really helps with the grip. Onto the Moza Mini Mx itself, which feels pretty solid. Tripod legs screw in, and besides it holding the gimbal, of course, it also gives a little bit of extra support. Now, next up is to install the Moza Genie app. Make sure it is the Genie app, because that's not what I installed first. No, I installed another Moza app. So make sure it's the Moza Genie app that you install. Once you install the app, chances are you're going to have to update the firmware to the latest version, and then you're good to go. Features wise, the Moza Mini Mx has got more or less the same features as the DJI OM4. It's got tracking, which is a huge problem on the Moza, but I've got a fix for that. It's a very simple fix, but I'll get that in a minute. You can shoot with all the different lenses on the iPhone 11 Pro within the Moza app, right up to 4K 60. You've got a time lapse. You've also got trajectory lapse, or basically it's a motion time lapse where you kind of set a start and an end point, and then the gimbal goes and does the rest. Controls are, as you would expect, straightforward to use. You can use the joystick to go up and down and left and right. A triple tap of the trigger swaps the camera to the selfie cam, and a double tap straightens the gimbal back to its original position. You can also change modes with the plus and minus buttons. We'll say from pan to only pan and tilt. Here's a look at the different cameras in the iPhone 11 Pro using the Moza Mini Mx. And keep in mind, I'm not ninja walking here. This is just like a normal walk. As you can see, stabilization is decent enough. All the running does cause a lot of those jitters. That's also prevalent in the DJI Mimo app as well if you're using the OM4. Now, I'm convinced this is an Apple stabilization issue versus a Moza Genie app or an OM4 Osmo mobile app. It's just one of these things that seems to be a problem with the Apple stabilization. However, you can add extra levels of digital stabilization within the Moza Mini Mx app, in the Moza Genie app. This is called camera anti-shake, and it comes in different degrees. Now, you be the judge to see if this has made any difference or not. Tracking is one of my favorite features in any mobile gimbal. And yes, you can track with the Moza Mini Mx. It's done in app, and you just draw a box, and the camera and the gimbal tracks whatever you've drawn that box around. And it works pretty well, at least it did, until there was a software update which caused all kinds of problems. I gotta say, I was absolutely gutted when the tracking just stopped working. But there is a fix. There's an option in the Moza Genie app called Sport Gear Mode. Turn that off, and any of that extra digital added stabilization, that camera anti-shake, and the tracking works. And when I say it works, it sticks to what you draw that box around like glue. Overall, the Moza Genie app is good, but to be honest, I do find it a little bit unreliable at times. It seems to forget some of the settings that you saved. For example, that sports gear mode seems to turn itself on and off kind of when it wants, and you only discover after you've started pressing record, and you have to stop and go back. But again, this is something that can probably fix with another software update. But how does the Moza Mini Mx compare to the DJI OM4? We've got some side-by-sides coming up for you guys. And then after that, can a really substantially cheaper gimbal like the Moza Mini Mx be a better purchase than something like the DJI OM4. Let's get side by siding. Comparing the two gimbals physically, the Moza Mini Mx is smaller, but not by a lot. But if size matters for you, then yeah, this is the smaller of the two gimbals. Weight-wise, it's also a little bit lighter. If I really had to nitpick here, you've got a nice red record button on the DJI OM4, while on the Moza Mini Mx, you don't. You just have a power button, which also doubles and triples as other functions, including a record button. But that's really nitpicking. There is one super cool feature. I'm not even sure if it's a feature, but I absolutely love it. So forget about this. With the Moza Mini Mx, you can turn the handle. So you've got this extra kind of level of support. So you can go this way, you can go that way. But when you have, it's just, I don't know, it feels better. Genuinely, it kind of feels better, and it's just a twist. It's part of the way the whole thing folds, but it works very, very well. Handling wise, there's not much to separate these two in the hand. They both feel good. I do really like this functionality that you can do it this way. You've got the magnetic grip on this one. So you've got the sticker as well. So the new iPhone 12s, the MagSafe, I'm thinking they're just going to stick straight onto that, which would be a great feature. But you know what? Doing this, it's not going to kill anybody. It's not the end of the world just to do it. And while the OM4 is a little bit more polished than the app on the phone, I don't think the price difference, again, is worth it. With a similar feature set, similar shooting modes, the Moza Mini Mx is an incredibly solid gimbal. It really is incredible value for money. And to be honest, it's too good to pass up. If you found this video useful, please consider hitting subscribe, and there's a video up here that I think you're absolutely going to love. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, don't stop fighting for yourself. Oh, yeah. It's too far away. Ha!